Let's talk a little bit about Caleb Williams, the number one overall pick in the draft here, quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He's 6'1", 214 pounds, runs a 4.56 40. Frankie, talk to us about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, man. I mean, Caleb Williams, John, he's an unreal talent. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. And honestly, there's parts of me that kind of are like, oh God, do I even really want to say that out loud? Here's what it is, man. Let's bring it back to his 2022 year. What was that? Well, he won the Heisman. What did that look like? Well, John, he had 4,500 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 382 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. Unbelievable. He would have been a top 2-3 pick if he had gone out of college that year. Decides to stay. And so what did he put up in 2023 last season, John? He regressed a bit, but not by much. 3,600 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, still only 5 interceptions, 121 rushing yards, and 11 rushing touchdowns. John, on top of this, he goes to the team that arguably won the entirety of the offseason. What the Bears did and what Ryan Poles has done for that particular team is nothing short of incredible. Bringing in Keenan Allen, right? Getting rid of Darnell Mooney in a good way, not saying like, hey man, get the hell out of the team. Saying, hey, he got signed, he got paid somewhere else. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to draft another top tier receiver in that of Rome Udunze. And then by the way, you still have Tyler Scott, the burner, who will absolutely be a part of 4 receiver sets. And then you have the bona fide number 1 and that of DJ Moore. Then, John, they add in DeAndre Swift, which again, a lot of these guys we're going to be talking about in our New Faces and New Places episode. So we'll get into the nitty gritty. But when you start looking at how this offense has been revamped, in comparison to last year or the year prior, Caleb Williams is walking into maybe the best situation ever from a first pick overall team coming out of the draft. Usually these teams are dog shit. That's why they have the first pick. This is not the case for the Bears. And John, Caleb Williams is absolutely somebody that you have to pay attention to this year. Now, when we start looking at comps, right? Who the hell does Caleb Williams remind you of? His play style. There's really 2 guys, and it's a mix of both. And it's crazy I'm saying this, so stay with me here. First guy is Aaron Rodgers. When you look at Aaron Rodgers being able to throw off of his back foot, and you see the trajectory of the football and the ability to loft that ball, John, there's few people that can make that throw. Caleb Williams is one. Then you think about the arm angles. The way he's able to maneuver his arm. The only person outside of Aaron Rodgers that I'd actually seen this from is Patrick Mahomes. And so I get that I'm throwing out 2 Hall of Famers. I get that I'm throwing out 2 MVPs. But John, that's how good this guy is. So for me, man, I really think these comps are legit. And I really think there's a lot of excitement around what Caleb Williams is going to bring to this Bears team.
Those are great comps, man. I mean, It is a bold take to say, oh, who do I compare this rookie player who's never had a snap in the NFL?
Yeah.
No big deal, just Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. But it's true, man. I mean, yeah, no big deal. We're watching films, and the more of what I watched on him and his highlight film, man, you're right. I mean, he looked like when the play, he's a true pocket passer. He can stand there. He doesn't get happy feet. And he can do an Aaron Rodgers and just plant that back foot in any situation and launch, man. The other thing he does when the structure of the play breaks down, this is where I think he's at his most impressive, is that he can get out of the pocket. He can make things happen. He's still looking downfield. Yes, this dude can run. Make no mistake about it. This guy can run. He is a mobile quarterback, and he will get some fantasy points on the ground for you. But he's looking downfield, much like a Patrick Mahomes. He can do it. He'd rather throw the ball. And with that receiving core, with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen running roughshod right through the middle of the field, he's going to be open, man. So you're right. I mean, the situation that this guy is in, I normally do not go for rookie quarterbacks on fantasy football. They never, ever return their value in fantasy, especially their first year. But I think this guy's a little bit different, man. I think he's just in a different situation. All right, so let's look at fantasy-wise exactly. He's going 96th overall in ADP, so he's the 13th QB being drafted. So he's just outside of the top 12 quarterbacks. So he's in that consideration for sure. He's going around round 7, round 8. Frankie, is this a guy, can you wait on quarterback and look in round 7, 8, 9 and try to snag Caleb Williams as your one? Are you comfortable with that? Because that sounds like a huge risk to me.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I think that you can. I think it's definitely worth an opportunity. But if you do that, if you decide to make that move, it is a risk. You got to draft another quarterback. You have to. You have to be able to draft another backup because, Caleb Williams might actually be you drafting your backup before your starter. That could absolutely be how that unfolds because you're looking at a CJ Stroud opportunity in the back half of the year, right? And so now you have all this trade value. So if you go this path, man, it's going to be a Jared Goff, right? You're going to take Jared Goff. Take him with it. Take a Justin Herbert with it. Shit. Take an ADP of, an ECR experts consensus rating of Aaron Rodgers being the 20th overall quarterback. Guys, if you're willing to do this, which I absolutely am in a single quarterback league, John, to take a risk on Caleb Williams, I'm going to sit back and wait, and I'm going to get one of those other guys I mentioned and one of my last picks, and there I'm not stressing out as much. The other interesting item is Superflex. For those that are in a 2-quarterback league, this dude is gold. Whether you're looking at him as your QB2, whether you're looking at him as your QB3, if you want to draft a third QB, guys, this is a person, again, it goes back to CJ Stroud. It goes back to some of these other guys that I think that is where his play could be. Look at Anthony Richardson. Before he got hurt, he was top tier, right? And so because of his rushing floor. So what I'm getting at is, man, this is absolutely somebody who, if you're looking at taking a risk on, number one, you got to draft another quarterback. But in a 2-quarterback league, absolutely brilliant to take Caleb Williams. I think that can only help you and your team.